That comes under that.
Good evening everyone and welcome to the Planning and Highways Committee meeting today, the 3rd of April. Sorry, I've got to go through some house rules, if you can just bear with me. Right. Thank you to all members of the public, councillors and officers who are joining us for today's meeting. Councillors and officers are reminded of their commitment to the civility and respect pledge and to be mindful of this during tonight's meeting. Please be aware that the council is video recording this meeting and this will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. I would just like to highlight some key points of meeting format. Please can I ask everyone to have their phones turned off or set to silent. The fire exits are via the doors out of the chambers and down the external fire escape, or via the main entrance that you enter the building through. In the event of the fire, the lift should not be used. The assembly point is the outside the Royal Mail Parcel Office on West Street. Please remain seated unless you are invited to speak or need to take a comfort break. The toilet facilities are out in the corridor you entered through. Members of the public are invited to participate in the meeting with key points as follows. Public participation is limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person and must be relating to an item of business on the agenda. As Chair, I will interject if needed to enforce this. For those looking to speak specifically about a planning or tree works application on the agenda, you will be invited to speak immediately before the committee considers that application. For those looking to speak on the other agenda items, you will be invited to speak during the public participation agenda item. Please raise your hand to show you wish to speak and I will invite you to speak. If you are comfortable standing, please do so to ensure that you can be heard across the room. You do not need to state your name when you start speaking if you do not wish to, but we ask that you clearly state which agenda item you are speaking about. I would ask that participants looking to leave the meeting wait until the agenda item to limit distractions for other participants. Members of the public looking to leave the building will need to be escorted out by a council officer. If the meeting, to all present, please remember to show respect to others in the meeting and avoid interrupting where possible to enable others to follow the meeting. If any councillor feels concerned about any aspect of the meeting or discussion, please clearly state point of order and I will then gesture for you to elaborate. If anyone present is felt to be behaving unacceptably, they can be ejected from the meeting by resolution. Thank you for listening. On behalf of the council, I'd like to thank you everyone for attending this town council meeting. Thank you. We go on to agenda item 1, apologies for absence.
No apologies received.
Item 2, disclosure of interest. To deal with any disclosure by members of any disclosure of pecuniary interests and interests other than pecuniary interests as defined under the Seaford Town Council Code of Conduct and Localism Act 2011 in relation to matters on the agenda.
Chair.
Councillor Lord.
Yes, it's item 5, it's the Cricket Field Road VE Day celebrations. I'll be attending that and made a contribution towards the funds.
Thank you. Councillor Cameron.
Thank you, Chair. It seems my empathy for heat pumps and my advice to the Creed Centre on the heat pump issues constitutes an interest. So it sounds as if I can't speak too much and vote for that item.
Thank you. Item 3, public participation. To deal with any questions or brief representations from members of the public in accordance with relevant legislation and Seaford Town Council policy. In accordance with Town Council policy, members of the public wishing to speak on individual planning applications may do so immediately before each planning application. So at this point, on non-planning applications. Yes.
Thank you. Short speech this time. I'd like to speak on agenda item 6, the Rights of Way Access Plan. I'm speaking from personal experience. All of the rights of way paths on Seaford Head are so poor. With my disability, I'm finding it dangerous to use them. I've reported the King Charles III section, as this was too difficult to navigate. Now the path down to Coastguard Cottages is also too dangerous for anyone with limited mobility to use. Yet you're promoting this path on the Town Council webpage as a Miles Without Styles walk. The Miles Without Styles leaflet that can be downloaded from your webpage describes the path to the Coastguard Cottages as a surface path which is well maintained. There's also a picture on the leaflet of someone on the path with a walking stick. Seaford Head has now become a major tourist attraction, with visitors travelling long distances to enjoy the walk and scenery. People with disabilities rely on the Miles Without Styles leaflets when choosing where to travel for recreation. It's unfair on people who are told a path is accessible only to find it totally eroded and dangerous to use. So I'd urge the council to put in place a strategy to ensure the rights of way paths are accessible and safe to use. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else like to speak? Yes.
Good evening, Chair. I'd again like to speak on agenda item 6, the rights of way and access. As a member of the public, I did complete the survey in early March, and I reported an issue with the same area of path, the access down towards the Coastguard Cottages, as there's deep sections where the groundwater is running down the hillside. I got a reply from the public rights of way officer saying really that coastal erosion is not something that County Council could remedy or abate. The footpath is on open access land so it can spread and the gully section can be avoided. And any issues for vehicle access is something that you need to talk with Seaford Town Council. So most of the times when we make any inquiries, literally we're directed back to you as Seaford Town Council. Walk the Chalk were doing a small amount of repair down that area, and I don't know whether that could be considered again in the future. Back now to your questions that you've got on your survey to do. So question 8, I'm going to ask, could you consider anything like the 3VA scheme that is currently being used in Eastbourne, which is the Beachy Head Ambassadors? And I'm also going to reference through my speeches this paper, which is the Seaford Green Blue Infrastructure Settlement Appraisal that was done in 2024 for the draft Lewis local plan, and they've suggested on page 11 that you look at having volunteers. So question 9, there's no mention about the King Charles III path, the coastal path. I just wondered if this could be added. And I also wanted to draw your attention to something that happened in 2017, which was the South Korean student who jumped up for her photograph to be taken, but lost her footing and fell from the cliff edge, and this was very close to this section of the coastal path. So question 10, I'd written down about 4 of these that were perhaps dissatisfied by. The first one is accessibility for less mobile users. And again, this report for the local plan talks about Seaford having an ageing population and that outdoor spaces need to be well considered, as does what Jackie said just a minute ago. Surface conditions are also an issue, and they need to be looked at in the area. Finger posts at the end of public rights of way, I'm not sure that they're always there. And then the way marking of routes, the directional signing along routes. The A259 Chinkton Lane to Exeat Bridge is becoming more dangerous with people walking in the road. I've been advised by the County Council that it's not a public right of way. However, it has been used until recently. It's only recently become overgrown, and this should perhaps be considered urgently because international visitors do not know the pathway through the fields, which is SEA 21, 1 and 2. So the way marking of routes is really critical for that section of the A259 to take people off the road. Question 11, strongly agree. Question 12, I think some of them are declined. In particular, SEA 22, which is the route down from South Hill Barn to the cottages. In this report here by TEP, it scores as needing improvement in two areas, as not being healthy, safe and secure, and not being well maintained and clean. And then for the other section along the coastal path, that actually scores as needing major improvement on page 18 of this report, as not being healthy, safe and secure, and it talks about broken fences, area of erosion along the cliffs. Then moving on to 17, health and well-being, I've already covered when I've talked about this above. Question 17 is just talking about residents in East Sussex County Council. However, we do need to consider the visitor economy, especially as 10.9% of the population of Lewes is employed through the visitor economy. And then question 18, it was about could we add anything, and I thought about adding there section 106, contribution from developers, and ensuring that the local plan for both Lewes and the South Downs National Park has a policy that protects and improves public rights of way, and that any remedial work is paid for by developers and is enforceable. So I'm quite happy to leave this report that I've referenced on several of my answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes.
Good evening. Again, I'd like to talk on item 6, rights of way. I totally agree with Jackie and with Melanie regarding the state of the path from South Hill Barn down to the Coast Guard cottages. I applaud the council for identifying this route and creating the miles without stiles promotions, but if you are going to do this and you are going to publicise it, you do have to make sure that it's kept in a state that people with mobility issues can actually use it. And the degeneration of this path has been a combination of both the massive increase in footfall down to the cottages, but also to the vehicles that the film units use. This is a path, and during filming, the heavy standby vans often park up at the Coast Guard cottages, together with frequent unit transport between the cottages and the unit base back up at the barn. This can potentially erode the path. Film units must pay to put right any damage to the path caused by their vehicles. I'm not sure that this is currently happening. If it's not already included in the filming contract, it should be added. When the film unit moves out, the path should be inspected by whoever is in charge of filming within the council, and any damage identified swiftly repaired and the production company charged for it. This isn't something that would come as a surprise to production companies. Signage at South Hill Barn is inadequate. It needs updating, it needs to be fit for 2025 use. QR codes are now in common use, and a great deal of information can be made available to visitors, including very important safety information. This would also cater for our international visitors and be available in different languages. I would ask the council also to look at barbecues. We are starting to get barbecues appearing around the area of the South Hill Barn, particularly at weekends. And I'd ask the council to consider ways best to manage this. We've had an extremely dry March. We could have an extremely dry summer. We do not want fires starting up there. I'd also like to talk about Hope Gap Steps, currently closed to the public.
Can I stop you there?
Sorry.
Yes.
Because that is not on the agenda, it's just the footpaths which is on the
Oh, there is a
agenda.
footpath, SE 24-2.
I thought you were just going to just talk about...
No, it's the
Okay.
fact that the path goes
Yeah,
there.
because you sort of just the
Well,
the
it
survey.
is actually shown on the map that was sent out with this as being a path, and it is on numerous websites, numerous maps, numerous social media, and also in recent months incidents have occurred requiring Coast Guard and emergency services to reach the bottom of the cliff, and they have used those steps. And I would ask the council, perhaps this committee could feed back to the council, has the Coast Guard been asked for their opinion of the future of Hope Gap Steps? Again, I'd like to echo Melanie's point about the 259. and people walking down from Chinkton Lane to Exeat Bridge. It's getting more and more common. And in fact, the other weekend, we had friends around, we were talking about it. They drove back to Eastbourne as the light was going, and it was only because it was in their mind that they saw the walkers on the road. So please, if there's anything Seaford can do with East Sussex to collaborate and try and find a safer way forward for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else like to speak? No? Right, so we move on to planning applications. Agenda item 4, planning applications. Planning applications received week commencing Monday the 23rd of December 24. This was missed off a previous agenda as incorrectly dated on the planning portal. LDC has extended the consultation to the 4th of April. So this is LW/24/0817, 51 to 53 Blashington Road. Outline application for the demolition of existing garages and workshops, erection of 5 by 2 bedroom and 1 bedroom terraced houses, and conversion and redevelopment of 51 to 53 Blashington Road to form 2 bed houses and 1 bed house. Any members of the public? So are you just staying for the footpath so we can go straight through? Right, thank you. Open to the committee. Councillor Honeyman.
If this doesn't contradict the Dane Valley project, which reading through the situation and then the neighbourhood plan, which it could contradict that. If it doesn't contradict that, I'm in favour of it. If it contradicts the neighbourhood plan and the Dane Valley project, then I can't agree with this. Even though there was something was agreed in 2018, but we've had the Dane Valley project and the neighbourhood plan since. So I just want that's my starting point really. We can't go against our own neighbourhood plan.
No.
So I wondered if the Dane Valley project is still that's still being talked about and they're still in discussion. So that's my issue. So if that's the case, then it depends on the scenario of that. The actual design's fine. That's only outline anyway.
Yeah. And this is just renewing previous applications. Councillor Borman?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I know you go on about Dane Valley project, but that's over so many different sites that different people own, and whether it will ever happen because there's so much issues with different parties. But obviously this has been put through before. It has been agreed before. It's brownfield site, so I'm quite happy to propose to support this again.
Okay. Does that find a seconder?
I'll second. So I think it's
Thank
about
you.
having some properties which, sorry, Chair, it's nice to have some small properties, 2 bedroom, which perhaps maybe they might even be starter homes, you never know, but prices in Seaford, I don't know which days, but at least we've got some small properties in Seaford. That's a brownfield site as well.
Thank you. Councillor Olivia Hunman?
Yeah, I was thinking when I looked at this, I thought, well, actually, it's going to tidy the area up quite nicely. It'll really make it tidy. I don't know, obviously, they haven't said where the garages are going to go, where the cars will go, but I just think it's going to make it such a difference down there.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Buchanan?
Oh yeah, thank you. I'm always I think it's fine. I'm just wondering how you deal with the bins. There's communal refuse storage, but then that's kind of sitting back off the road. I'm not sure how the bin man's going to get there, but secondary issue.
Yeah, no, I'm sure the LDC will be making comments on
We'll
that.
charge you for what about Councillor Buchanan?
Councillor Richard Hunter?
I'm going to come back. I'd only agree to it if you can mention the Dane Valley project in
the back garden, Councillor Buchanan, there's bin stores there.
Those are bikes.
The
No,
bikes.
No, the green lids there.
Oh, yes, yeah.
They're bin stores, Councillor Buchanan. If you come down with your power, sir,
Yeah.
that's it, it's a bin.
Okay, so
Sorry,
Sorry, Chair,
councillor.
But this is only outline, isn't it, Chair? So it might not be this design anyway. So
Yeah, no.
I'd only accept this, support this, if there's any reference to the Dane Valley project, because the design access statement does talk about they're still in talks with the district council over this plan with the Dane Valley project. So I still think that needs to be mentioned as part of the proviso, part of the condition there. That happy to support, bearing in mind it doesn't contradict the Dane Valley project. It's still an ongoing project, you see, so it can't go against that.
Are you happy with that to be included in our
So let's make reference to it as they do talk about
Make
it.
reference to it, that's fine, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we support the principle of it.
Councillor Olivia.
Oh, no, sorry, that was me just.
Can I just say,
Oh, yes,
sorry, Chair, there's also provision of car parking there as well on this particular plan, so I think they've ticked all the boxes as far as I'm concerned, cycles, gardens and refuse and parking, so I think it's about time we had something decent in this particular area, Seaford, but anyway, I'm supporting it.
Okay, right. So,
So you're going to put that in then?
yes,
Thank you.
yes, it's agreed with the proposer and seconder. So can I have a show of hands of supporting this application
Yeah.
with that reference
Yeah.
to the,
Okay.
and that's unanimous. Thank you. Planning applications received week commencing Monday the 10th February. LW/25/0041 Mercreed Youth Centre, Mercreed Road. Installation of bike rack with 5 hoops to front and installation of an air source heat pump to the rear. Who'd like to lead on this one?
Not allowed to. Not allowed to.
I'm not allowed to.
Well, it's on you, know, but it was
Councillor Hannigan.
I support it. I mean, I'm not unhappy about the noise issues, and one of the residents lives 60 metres away, and I can sort of understand the concerns generally. I'm more concerned about potential vandalism issues around where it gets located, as opposed to the actual principle of having a heat pump. I mean, the cycle racks are fine as well. I'm sure they'll be made sort of as much vanderproof as they can, standard they can get to. So basically, I basically support the project on both counts.
Okay, thank you.
I'll
Is that
support
all?
it, Chair.
You seconded?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor
I'm
Olivia.
just going to say when the person who'd objected, as we were talking earlier on, it's not on the wall that they were that worried about.
Mhm.
So I'm happy to support this.
Okay. Anybody else? So can I have a show of hands of supporting this application? And that's unanimous. Thank you. Planning applications received in the week commencing Monday the 3rd of March. LW/25/0088, 66 Homefield Road. Erection of a porch at the side elevation. Addition of 1 dormer at the front and 1 dormer and 1 Juliet balcony at the rear. Addition of painted render finish at the ground floor level. Moving front door to the side. I'd like to lead on this one. Councillor Foreman?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think moving the front door to the side of the building, the new porch, the rear dormer and the Juliet balcony is absolutely fine. I've got no issues and I'm fully support that. But the front dormer I cannot support because as our neighbourhood plan says in GBO4, dormers will not be permitted on the front or side roof slopes where they would unbalance a building or disrupt the continuity of a terrace or group. This is 2 bungalows, which means suddenly it's going to become lopsided from front level. If you look round the street area, the majority of the properties have roof lights only, which is fully acceptable in our neighbourhood plan. The only property further down the road that does have a front dormer, this got planning permission pre our neighbourhood plan. So unfortunately I will be objecting to this because of that front dormer.
Thank you. Does that find a seconder? Thank you.
Can I talk on it?
Yes, yes. You seconding?
Yeah, I will talk. Yeah, I mean, the principle was the same. If it was done as a pair, then you may have a bit more. Then I'd be able to support, even reluctantly, the double dormer. I mean, it does turn a bungalow into a nice box house, doesn't it? If you do both sides. The rear is absolutely fine, Chair. Obviously, yeah, that side of things is absolutely fine. It's just the front needs to be sort of scaled down a bit. I'm happy with the idea of moving entrances from the front to the side, which is quite common anyway. A lot of properties around here. So you go. I support Councillor Bourne to object.
Yeah.
Any other comments? So we're going to have a show of hands.
Can I just double check, sorry, Chair?
Yes.
So are we objecting to the entire application, or you're objecting just on the front dormer?
The front dormer.
Front dormer, but the rest...
But because it's a whole application,
Yeah.
we have to object to all of it.
Okay.
So we do support the other bits.
Yeah, but shall I put, and you want me to put a note in about...
That we're happy with the other bits,
Yeah.
just the front dormer is why we're objecting to it.
That's fine, thank you, Chair.
So can I have a show of hands that we're objecting to this planning application?
On the grounds of, yeah, well, but the other.
And that's unanimous. Thank you. Planning applications received in the week commencing Monday the 10th of March. LW/25/0112 Chesterton, 1 Chinkton Gardens. Erection of one dwelling. I'd like to lead on this one. Councillor Cameron?
Thank you, Chair. There is indeed a planning in principle, because this is the only drawing available on
Yes, I did
on the
sort
site.
of investigate this one. It's actually a renewal of LW/22/0207, which was approved, which was then another approval update on a planning application back in 2019. So every sort of 3 years it's coming back to update the application. But it's identical. The block plan is identical to 2022 application.
And it passed on those previous occasions.
Yeah, yeah.
Jeff, I just think somebody's going to get rid of the property with planning, approval for planning additional property next to theirs. It's going to increase the value of the sale of the property. Well, as far as I'm concerned, what we're seeing for, well, good luck to them, if that's what you want to do, keep renewing it every few years.
Yeah,
I can't see an objection to it, so.
No. I just think it would have been courteous for them to explain why they're
Well, they're not going to say that
renewing.
because
But just to have the block plan is,
bit poor, really.
yeah. Okay, Councillor Bourne.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Happy to support it, but I really wish people, when they put applications in, would actually build this. We have so much land across Seaford with planning applications that come back every 3 years because they haven't started building it. Because, okay, there might be retirement funds for them or things like that, but actually, how many properties could have been built 3 years ago or 6 years ago? Because, and I really wish there was something that we could do, or Lewis District Council could do, to actually enforce these being built, because these are failed neighbourhood plan allocations and this is why we keep being given more, but we've built, haven't built them, but they're already sat there ready to be built, but they've already been taken out of that allocation. So it is poor on that side.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think the letter for the previous application was due to COVID which is acceptable, but just to have nothing, I think, is a bit poor.
It's poor.
Okay. So, can I have a proposer, please,
I'll propose it, Chair.
that you're supporting the
Yeah.
application? And does that find a seconder? I think Councillor Bourneman's first. And can I have a show of hands, please? Thank you. Tree Works. 2 TW/25/0023/TPO, 7 Chapel Close. And it's all sycamores.
Yep.
So, who would like lead on this application, Councillor Lord?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, sycamore's a tough old tree. It's just becoming to the growing season, beginning of spring, and this should be cut out before the end of this month. Providing it's cut out before this month, I've really got a problem with it. And sycamores are a really hard to treat unless you cut them down Hadrian's wall. So as far as I'm concerned, I support this application. But 10-foot drop on it is about right. Yeah.
So find a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Buchanan. And can I have a show of hands supporting the application? And that's unanimous. TW/25/0025/TPO 2 Elm Close, and we got home oak trees this time. Who's leading on this application?
Oh, thank you.
Councillor?
Yeah, funny enough, I'm in the process of removing some low limbs on a very large oak tree in Crowborough, and they're expensive and very difficult to remove, and you're going to need someone up there on a harness and a chainsaw to take them down. I'm glad I'm not paying for it. Pretty like that's going to cost a fortune. But oak trees, like everything else, like roses, they need pruning back. They're just like a rose tree, they need pruning back. And the low limbs are the best to remove. And also, if they're left to grow too long, they are supposed as a hazard. And I'm surprised where the tree is. It should be in what's known as a zone with regards to as a hazard. They're not identified that, but that doesn't matter. I support the application.
Okay, does that find a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Hunton. And can I have a show of hands supporting? That's unanimous. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 5. Present details of proposed road closure application for Cricketfield Road residents for a VE Day celebration and for this committee to consider comment. Councillor Borman?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think Cricketfield Road goes all out most years for some celebration and road closures, and there's never been any issues, so I'm fully supportive of this application.
Thank you. Councillor Richard Hunnigan?
Yeah, I can support this. So they are quite prominent for the celebration last year for D-Day, and I can understand why Councillor Bill wants to find his way around the corner. So I'm looking for so I support it, absolutely.
Thanks for that.
Councillor Hunnigan?
Yeah, I support this, but my only observation is I don't know if we can do it, but obviously this is quite a busy time of that time in May, is whether the road between that's got the two fields and the road that goes down.
College Road.
Yeah.
No, not College.
Oh, not
The road that's between the two fields that always gets absolutely snarled up with traffic. Is there any way we can put any big signs up saying no parking? While Cricketfield Road is closed, that part is closed. Is there any way we can make sure that, because once people park there, it's horrendous. And it's just if the Cricketfield Road, that section is closed for, more or less the whole day, is there anything that can be done about that road between the two? Do you know the road? I don't know what the name of it is.
Can we open a field up to allow parking there so they're not parking on the street?
Well, I'm just suggesting, because it's just, that's the main bank holiday, and it's normally chaos around that area because everyone's trying to see from.
And that's why opening a field up, especially if it's nice weather,
So I was just trying to see if we
for
can
additional parking.
try
It
and
would have
help.
to be manned.
Yeah.
But then we might be able to get the Bonfire Society always want to raise funds and other charities. We've got enough time now to maybe put it out to some of the charities and organisations if they want to earn money that weekend, especially that day, that they might want to man it.
Because I remember one summer Saturday afternoon, driving on the Seaford just to be nosy to see what was going on. It was chaos. They were parked everywhere, the sorts, they were even parked on the pavement outside the sorts, even though there was no actual parking.
I remember
they were
that.
on the pavement. So when I drove all the way along, because I wanted to see what was going on, when you got to that piece of road between the two fields, you had people parking that way as well. So then it became literally one way. I don't know if there's anything we can do, because obviously people then often use Cricket Field as a cut through, Cricket Field Road, because obviously I don't want anything to stop this celebration going ahead, but it's whether we can just help with the congestion around that area when this section is, I might be completely, but I just thought I need to say it because I was concerned about what it's like in that area.
Maybe we can put through that we support the
Yeah, we definitely support
application.
it.
But we have concerns about parking issues on a bank holiday.
Whether there can, I don't know if we can or not, you see, that's why I'm just asking the question.
I think, sorry, through you, Chair, I think it's part of a bigger issue of what we're saying is that it's not really this application. I'm more than
Bank holiday weekend.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to take that comment back, you know, to the facilities team in general, you know, as that over that bank holiday weekend, as we are also aware there's going to be a road closure here.
Well, that's what I'm just thinking,
Yeah.
is just knowing what that area's like.
Yeah.
And I know what it was when I was just driving down that road, when you've got cars more or less parked at least one side, it was just chaos because no one was going to go up, no one was giving way. It just became a nightmare.
I'm happy to take that back.
If there's anything that
Speak
can
to
be
them
done
and say,
about.
obviously, we've just considered this road closure, that's going to have a knock-on impact here, and just chat to them about if there's anything we can do, like, you know, open up the
But we
field to a
definitely want
charity.
this event to go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
So support this with,
Yeah,
is
definitely.
I'll
he
take
going
comment
back
back to
with
the citizens.
additional that we've got concerns with this, but then because it's our land that we might be able to open up and.
Can something be done to help the legal?
Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I just thought I need to just throw that out there.
No, thank you for that.
Jim was sweating.
Right. Can we?
Actually, Chair, can you actually write the proximity of the seafront, like, you know, as it is? That's what you're looking at, isn't it?
Yeah.
Proximity of the seafront.
Okay. So we had a proposer. Did we have a seconder?
I'm quite happy to second this being done, I just want to.
And can I have a show of hands of supporting the application? Thank you. That's unanimous. Right. Agenda item 6. To present details of East Sussex County Council's Parish and Town Council survey ahead of its review of its right-of-way improvement plan for the committee to consider its response. So you're invited to, well, I said the same as that. It's confusingly that. Right, who would like to lead on this? Councillor Buchanan.
Thank you, Chair. Just trying to get my mind around this. Every council that is responsible for public right-of-way must have a right-of-way improvement plan. So this improvement plan is being created by East Sussex County Council. Does that imply that they're responsible for the public rights-of-way that are in this?
Yeah.
So the road up to South Hill Barn, which is one of the SEA 22/2. No, that's the one that goes to Coast Guard, and then goes to Coast Guard Cottages /3. That's East Sussex County Council.
Is that not a highway? Is that not a highway?
No, it's not.
That's not a right. That's not a public right of way.
It's, well,
I think that's permit. I want to say it's
so
permitted.
therefore I'm a wee bit confused about, must confess,
Isn't it a private road?
about
It's not a right of way,
following
it's a
rights of way
private
on the
road.
town council land.
I took a picture this morning of the rights of way on the computer. and all round South Hill Barn it's showing public footpath there.
And a bridle way indeed.
31B.
Yeah, it's this fellow that comes up here. And that one goes all the way to the 8259,
Yeah, that's quite a long road, that one is quite long.
Do you think
which
it's
is the
best
one that
to
was
go
being referred to
through
earlier.
each
wasn't it?
question
Yeah.
rather than just.
So, yeah, I'm just trying to understand the responsibilities that exist within every council that is responsible for public right of way. You must have
Oh, this one,
an
they
improvement
before,
plan.
yeah.
So is that Seaford Town Council's improvement plan? Or is it East Sussex County Council's improvement plan, which is this?
East Sussex County Council.
Yeah.
So they're responsible for the road up to South Hill Barn?
No.
No.
Okay,
They're responsible for the route, but not the actual maintenance.
okay.
No, I don't think that's right either.
There's a register, can I speak, Jen?
Yes.
There's a register of obviously routes, isn't there? We know that. But they're not all maintained by the county council. Some are, some aren't. So it's a bit more complex, and it depends who the owner is, partly as well. And there is a register of the various paths which go right across Seaford and beyond, obviously, because every council's had this survey in East Sussex of different sorts. So
Okay. What I'm proposing to do is that we're going to go through each question. As you can see, some of them have been already filled in. Thank you, Izzy. So, if you've read all the questions, stop me if you need to add anything. So if we go on to question.
Sorry, Chair, just to say, I mean, unless there's anything to be added into the above 8, because they were quite standard, more
Yeah.
administrative questions, but from 8 onwards, I think are the ones where
So you're smaller.
that we need sort of a committee
Okay.
decision.
Okay, so question 8. If you do not already have a volunteer group in the area, would you be interested in setting up a group to maintain public rights of way in your parish? Councillor Olivia Honeyman.
One of the residents suggested about the 3BAs being involved as a volunteer group.
Okay.
That was suggested for the
Mm-hmm.
3BA.
3BA, sorry.
But in terms of with the survey, we would just be saying yes, because obviously the only option is
okay,
yes
yeah.
and no, so.
So, everybody happy that we say yes on that
Yes.
one?
Yes, Joe.
Councillor Buchanan?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, still a wee bit confused. If, for example, we're talking about the right of way down to the cottages, is that an example of a right of way in this context? Because any maintenance you need to do is going to cost money. So having a volunteer team look at, I mean, it's all very well chopping down, leaves and things that get in the way on pathways. That's one issue. But this would cost money, presumably. So how does one delegate a volunteer team to do that, if you see what I mean?
Councillor Richard Hunton, you had your hand up?
the estate which we own, and is managed by various people at the moment, there's still lack of resources, and even if you've got 3BA involved, you still have resource issues, and like you do any sort of project. I mean, I will say that the SCP has done a lot of work of all the rights of ways in the last couple of years. They managed a grant to primarily look at the cycling, but also the full network of rights of way and other paths as well. And also Charlie Grimble, known to us as well, he's done a lot of work on this. So there's a lot of information out there, but it's time and resources to what are you going to do with the information? What do you need to be done with it? That's what we're we're looking at. So there are voluntary groups out there taking some of the work so far, but the actual physical side, that's another issue, isn't it?
So are you, Councillor
Tommy?
Bowman?
Yeah, just coming back on Councillor Buchanan, is East Sussex look after the the rights of way, the public footpaths and things. They oversee it, but it depends on whose land it's on. And actually, down to the coast cottages is Seaford Town Council's land anyway, which means it is our responsibility to maintain it. One of the suggestions from the residents was, because the film crews actually park their vans and use it, actually are we then charging them an additional amount to rectify any issues? So that is a possibility that we could do, but this survey doesn't ask us that. That's something we need to look at on any land we own that has a public right of way through it. How are we going to maintain it? And on certain things we might be able to use that money and look at that in the future.
Yeah. So the question is, yes or no?
Well, so to just to come back again, yes for some aspects of the rights of way, but maybe not for all of the aspects of the rights of way. So I suppose it's a yes, but that's not a cover-all statement. That's queries that have come up as part of this discussion on that point.
Okay. Councillor
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Town Council gives the Wildlife Trust significant amounts of money to maintain a lot of this, what we're talking about.
Yeah, sorry, Chair. So with question 7, we have already detailed in there that we do have volunteers.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
This is asking whether we'd be interested in setting up a volunteer group. So we have already said in question 7 that we have volunteers maintaining, spending, looking after certain areas. I would only assume that this is a very broad, they want to just put the feelers out and see if there's anyone that would be up for it, and then there'll be a much more detailed, asking for expressions of interest and things, and then we can look at discussing that further. Or they might see that loads of parishes say no, so they won't then look at it further. This is quite a loose survey from what, my opinion of it.
Yeah. Okay. So can I have a show of hands if we're going to say yes? And those against? Abstaining?
No, can you I think it's too loose, but put it to say yes if you want to, but I wouldn't support it. It's too loose an answer.
We've have got the majority of saying yes.
Sure, and so I've done something very similar work, and basically, I think like Isabel said, it's just to get a feeling of how the budgeting criteria is going to be for the next 5 to 10 years. It's not going to happen overnight.
No.
It's just because, just an example, there's a very large 13 miles of footpath to look after, and 2 miles of that is East Sussex County Council. And we've offered East Sussex Council to buy it off them for a penny, so we can look after all of it. And they said, well, we're happy with that. So it's just a yes no tick box. Like it's like doing an exam, yes no, yes no. And it goes into a big conundrum. Eventually we'll get some kind of a budget feel for what's going on in the future. And we're going to have this project for the next 12 months, for the next 2 to 3 years until eventually things get settled down. So I'm just saying, it's just a scattergun. Because it applies to everyone in East Sussex, from Chichester to Lewis to Seaford to,
Yeah, so if we can move on to question 9. Does your council promote any routes? And that has been answered as yes, and has included the routes. Do you want to include the King Charles?
Yes,
Park?
obviously a member of the public said about us including King Charles III Park.
Okay. So we're all happy with that one? Question 10, how satisfied are you with the following aspects of the public rights of way in your parish? Vegetation clearance, paths and
I think it's impossible because you have some are really, really good and some are really, really good. And if you said what you think that this particular one,
Yeah,
I think, to be honest with you, I think we should say neither satisfied nor dissatisfied. Because some are good and some are not. If we say some are very, very good, you get less money. If you say some are very bad, you can say, well, why are they very, very bad? It's a real tricky one, this one. And the condition to the bridges are looked after by Lewis District County, East Sussex County Council, because all the bridges looked after by them anyway. We have no the stars looked after by East Sussex, and the finger posts, waymark routes, they look after them. Footpaths, they look after them. Surf conditions, they look after them. Less mobile, well, that's 50-50. Free from obstructions, not including crops. Well, we don't know because some are and some not. But some of the footpaths are overgrown, with and some are not.
yeah, I mean, I've been going on the footpaths in my area.
Yeah.
And the only one I've put satisfied was the reinstatement clearance of paths through crops.
And
that is the only
and not
one.
including crops, it says there.
Yeah. So, but all the other ones dissatisfied. Councillor Borman.
Yeah, thank you. Vegetation clearance, I think the amount of residents every year that I get with asking that I can try and get this footpath cleared because suddenly the brambles and the ivy and the hedges are suddenly grown and no one's gone down. I spend a lot of time throughout the spring and summer actually contacting East Sussex to clear, or Lewis District to clear the footpaths. And so, and that's just through alleyways and which are public rights of way.
Yeah.
So yes, I would say dissatisfied, if not very dissatisfied.
There we go.
We have members of the public saying about the finger posts. Dissatisfied.
Can you mention sometimes some of the clearance of vegetation to do with the residents anyway, it's not nothing to do with the council or whatever council, depending on where it is, it can actually be the residents' responsibility.
It's just about East Sussex. Well, we've got to make it free of charge. We've got to make a mind. So we're dissatisfied, now dissatisfied, or satisfied. So perhaps we take a vote on which one we think is dissatisfied, neither, or satisfied. Then
Right. Go for the first one. What do you want to be? Dissatisfied or very dissatisfied?
that's for me.
No, well, from the discussions, it was dissatisfied.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
You're dissatisfied. That's fine.
Yeah, it's an early survey.
The clearance of paths through crops.
I think we should vote on dissatisfied, Chair. Then.
All just.
Yeah. I think we should.
Are members all happy with that?
Yeah, I think we
proposal?
should do. Yeah.
Yeah, Councillor.
Yeah, I was going to say the part that said about accessibility for less mobile, I would prefer to go very dissatisfied.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
Just because I know we're not talking about Twitters, but there is the issue with some places where I haven't been contacted recently, but a couple of years ago I had residents contact and say, if you've got walkers or sticks, you were just getting so caught up that you couldn't walk properly through anything, and especially with the Coast Guard cottage, if you've got a wheelie, I call my dad's thing a wheelie, one of those, it's just getting more harder to get through a lot of places unless it's really flat, and you really notice it when you're suddenly having to look at all
Pushing
the different,
through.
well, not pushing luckily, but the cambers. I never really noticed until I'm walking with my dad with his wheelie, how many cambers, and if the ground's not. So,
So if we go all dissatisfied, which ones do you want as very dissatisfied?
Yes, the vote.
Accessibility, we said, didn't we?
Just that one? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. 11. To what extent do you agree or disagree with the following statements? Public rights of way network in our town.
Strongly agree, we need it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
They're all good.
Strongly agree.
You've no choice. I strongly agree. We need them.
I've put all strongly
Yeah, you're right, Chair.
disagree. Yeah?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
agree.
Agree. Yeah. Sonia,
That they're an important asset for
you
residents.
can't afford to. You
of our
can't afford to lose them.
Yeah, agree. All agree?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of them.
Thank you. 12. Do you feel that over the last 10 years, the general condition of public rights of way in your parish or town has improved, stayed the same, declined? Not sure.
Stayed the
Don't know.
same.
I just said some decline.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Some have,
Some
but
have,
I
yeah, on
think it
average.
just, some don't.
Stay the same on
The
average.
member of the public was declined.
Yeah, declined?
I think we should follow members of the public because they're more in touch in lots of more, a lot more instances in the way, to be honest with you. So.
Okay, declined.
Yeah.
Please provide reasons for your answers below.
So, through you, Chair, I mean, the member of the public has got the quotes from the report, so
Yeah.
if you're happy that I take those points
Absolutely.
and quote back to the report.
Yeah, yeah.
We consult the members of the public and their
The
opinion.
the only thing I will say, not being rude to a member of the public, they're very specific in the area they're looking at, and as a
Yeah.
council, we should be looking at
Right.
our entire
Oh,
parish.
Yeah.
So some actually have stayed the same,
Yeah.
and if you look at the percentage of, for that area compared to our whole, actually, we've got to be very careful of where we are going with that,
Or perhaps we could say stay the same with conditions, perhaps.
with some.
Yeah.
I've
Oh,
made
sorry.
a note that I still have problems in reporting overgrown footpaths in the urban footpaths. Get very weedy and are trippable. Any further comments?
I think we should say.
Councillor Olivia Hanlon?
Saying about that, I know it's the, so for example, there's, I don't know if it's, can't remember if it's been done yet, but opposite the Downs Leisure Centre, there is hedges there which are owned by residents.
Yeah.
And I know people have been contacted to try and get those cleared. But do we need to be, say, look, we really do need to have some campaign to really encourage people that if it's people's property, people's hedges, that they really do need to be cut back? Because it's really starting to infringe on anyone with mobility, push chairs, all sorts.
If they are though, you can report it, and
I know, but I don't
and
think
they
it's
can,
something
and
we
the
need to
council
really
will
remind people.
cut them down and charge them for it.
Yeah.
Because they'll give them a warning and say you need to cut it down,
Yeah.
otherwise we'll do it
I
for
know, but do we
expense.
need to, is that something we need to emphasise on this as well?
Actually,
We could add that. Can we add that?
actually, the law's quite strict on this. If you infringe on a public highway, you give them 3 strikes and out. And what it means, you give them 3 warnings. If not, you cut it back level to the boundary, and wherever you cut off the boundary overhanging a public highway, the bushes or the branches have to go back to that particular house, or it's classed as theft.
Yeah.
So, really, to me it's quite straightforward, but if you have difficulties, just contact East Sussex highways. They're pretty good actually, to be honest.
And they're quite quick.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
When it's footpaths and that it's so grown that people push chairs, wheelchairs,
Yeah.
I don't know whether there
mobility.
needs to be a public awareness reminder that this
Yeah.
is the
We'll
situation.
get a letter first of all as well.
That's maybe something we can put on our
Yeah,
website with when looking after these areas.
Have you come back to 13? Have you reported a public rights of way issued to East Sussex County Council in the past 12 months? Well, I have as a
Yeah, so
councillor.
sorry, I originally wrote no.
I think we all have.
Yes.
Okay.
I will change that to yes.
She knows more than me.
How did you report the problem? Please tick. What's typical? I mean, I always do it online.
Yeah,
Is everybody else?
yeah.
How would you rate the service of East Sussex County Council when reported an issue?
Sorry, is this rights away or anything?
Right, it's okay. So we would literally only be doing the reporting online via a map.
Yeah, I usually find it works.
The map's quite good actually, it's quite easy. to
Online
use.
is very good.
Yeah, I usually find it works. So, do you want to say good or neutral?
Well, I've been speaking as a fan of using 3 towns, and all 3 towns have been pretty good, so People probably use more than me, I don't know.
Phone is very poor because you cannot get a hold of anyone.
Right,
That's what it said online on it, yes, okay.
very poor. Via email,
They do come back to an email, I must admit that. They do come back to us.
they're good,
Neutral.
Yeah.
neutral.
Well, they've been good to me, so I want to speak as an individual. I go with the rest of the committee, if you want to see neutral, say neutral.
Reporting the issue online, I find that's good.
Very good.
I think I can't fault that, honest with you.
Ease of tracking the progress of your report.
They've been pretty good.
Yeah,
Well,
I find that's all right.
honest to God, you know, can speak as a fine, so.
Overall service you received. Neutral.
Yeah, 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, I guess.
Neutral good, I can't.
No.
Yeah, it's,
Well,
There's some, isn't it?
I've used them, they've been good with me, so I can say good, but people have bad experiences with everything. So you go to a chip shop, innit, you have a bad experience, go to Trawlers, don't you, but 9 times out of 10.
What do you want to do? Neutral or good? Neutral.
Yeah, it's both on
Neutral.
beaches now, isn't it, so.
Neutral.
Okay.
16. How could we have improved your experience of reporting a problem on the public right of way?
I think it would be nice if you actually contacted by telephone rather than an email. Just a simple thing, say, we go there on Tuesday, we finish there, and you think, oh, that's good. But you get an email, and it could be, I feel, when I deal with people, I tend to speak to people on the telephone, actually go and see them. I know you can't do it for every individual case, but it's something where I feel,
Through you, Chair, that's my worst nightmare.
well, speak to people.
I like everything in email.
Oh, I love going to see people and knowing them.
you,
I do like
you've
phone
got a
calls.
written trail of what's been agreed.
Oh, well,
I prefer email.
yeah, okay, no, I'm quite happy with that, yeah.
Just to think about question 16 though, obviously we're saying very poor about reporting by telephone, so in terms of that experience, what can we tell them they could improve on with that?
I think this is post-COVID.
Okay.
When pre-COVID they had people in offices and you could speak to someone on the phone. Now no one seems to want to be on the phone, it's all via email and they live across the whole of the country.
Yeah.
I speak to me.
Yeah.
Oh, on to that.
So with phone we're saying that there's a feeling of a lack of availability, I suppose.
Yeah.
A room for improvement.
Yeah.
You say my school report.
Alright, 17. We aim to provide a public rights of way network that serves the needs of East Sussex County residents. To do this, we may need to prioritise where we spend our available budget while delivering on our responsibilities within the law. In your opinion, how important are each of the following? Maintaining the current public rights of way.
They're all important, I'd say.
Yeah, I think, yeah, all
I think
important.
it's very important.
I think ones with health reasons, that's very important. So we keep saying about well-being, don't we? But this is about
Yeah.
well-being, get out and about and whatnot.
Do you want to put very important on all of them?
Yeah, I think we will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there other areas which you think should be a priority? I think we've had,
I've made a note from a member of the public about the visitor economy.
yeah. Okay.
I think just protecting them is very high. So improving's great, and yes, we should improve them for those with disabilities,
Yeah.
but just improving a right of way just because actually some don't need improving, they just need to be maintained
As the,
as they are and protected as they are. So some areas don't need improving because they're absolutely fine. So I think it's actually just protecting what there is now.
Yeah.
And don't get some
So
of
we
them
need
walk through as well.
to stress on the disability.
Yes.
Need access for all.
Especially
Not just-
in this area where we're
Yeah.
getting an older
Yeah.
age group of people living in the area.
Staying on.
We're all getting older.
Okay. moving on to 18.
Oh, sorry.
Do you have an additional?
Councillor Olivia Hunn.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, obviously one of the residents who's left made the comment about the miles without stiles leaflet. So is that something we can look into? Because it lists what is accessible and not.
In the for the survey, I've made a note to take that away with me,
Okay, that's fine.
in terms of speaking to the facilities department.
Okay, that's fine.
There was something earlier in where it says you can include a link of what you promote in your
Yeah.
town. Actually, we could put the link
Yeah. we can
to
do
that, actually, because that's
That's a good
one
idea.
thing we are promoting. Because it asks what we're promoting, actually, can
Yeah.
we put the links in?
It's a good idea, that.
And that way they can see that we're promoting that.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Good point.
Just something going
Good idea.
Well, I was worried we were going to miss it.
Yeah.
So that we ought to make sure that's there.
Right, 18. Do you have any additional comments which will help us to draft the rights of way access plan?
To kick off, just the points from the member of the public about contributions from section 106
Yeah.
and about Lewis District Council and South Downs National Park having the reports.
That's good comments, then, actually.
Yeah.
And contributions from developers towards the maintaining the rights of way.
Well, I just put one more, someone called a toss after that.
So what about the county council's own local plan, which is a transport still ongoing, and then there's always, it seems to be ongoing forever. So I don't know if you want to make reference to that in any way. Their own transport plan
Oh, transport plan.
Yeah.
links into that. It can, indirectly.
All plans are ongoing.
Oh, yeah, I know you are.
Ever evolving.
Right. 19. Please tell us any specific public right-of-way issues or improvements in your parish. Please provide route numbers if possible and/or a precise description of the location of the route.
I think we had a few for members of the public,
Yeah.
and
Well, some of them are ours, so that's going to need to be dealt with. I'll take it away with me.
Yeah. Main routes to Seaford Barn, isn't it?
What I'll try to do is try and speak, if I can, try and speak to the right, because we need to respond to this tomorrow, is try and speak to the right person tomorrow, because then I might be able to say, these are the issues that we're highlighting, because I can't say, but I have something niggling away at me telling me that there are talks about all of the pathway down over the head and coast cottages, but I can't for the life of me think where we are with it or who said it. It's just somewhere there. So if I can find out what that is,
Just fish it out, put it in.
I can provide some sort of update or something alongside it.
Great.
Councillor Olivia Hunter?
Yeah, I did make a note earlier on about high and over. I know that's town council now, but that regularly has to be cleared, and it regularly has to be almost reminded to be cleared, because we've had it quite a few times where residents have gone, well, actually, I can't see anything. And I remember we had a lady who used the wheelchair all the time a couple of years back, said she remembered where she used to see all the way across. It got cut then, but we really need to make sure
It
that.
was done last week.
Oh, sorry, it's been done. I'm
Yeah,
not up to
it's
date.
all right.
Obviously, I'm not up to
Yes,
date.
yeah.
But I just want to say we need to make sure we've got the regular maintenance programs on our own properties.
it takes a lot of complaints to get it done.
It
But
was
it
done
should
last
actually
week.
be
That's
there
what
to
I'm
go,
saying.
we're going to do
It
it
should be
here,
cut
here and
down
here.
twice a year.
That's what I'm saying. We really should have a regular maintenance program for our areas.
Just said that, didn't I?
Yeah, yeah.
On the 1st of April, our maintenance officer started, so I think we're going to see a lot more,
Yeah.
a lot more happy.
I pity him. Kieran or something.
That's fantastic views from
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
That point.
Sorry, just to add one more point with this, is that I do know that in the terms and conditions for filming, there is a clause where anything anything damaged they need to make right. Because I remember looking this up when we were getting some comments from members of the public a while back. So I do know that there is a specific clause in there. Where we are with it, I don't know, because I think there was a specific bit of filming or something happened where there was some damages. So I don't know where we are with that. But just to say, I know you said you had some concerns about the contract side of things, but that is in there.
Councillor Bowman.
Yeah, can I just come back on that, because there might not look like there's damage when this rolls of wagons and things have gone down, but actually it does create issues, and maybe we should be putting even if it's just a small amount in addition to their filming to cover
It's almost like wear and tear.
wear and tear
Just
maintenance,
a
because then if
before and after.
something suddenly big happens, you're going to have an argument from a film company going, well, no, okay, that happened, but they're going to come back with wear and tear
I think
of lots of things ongoing. So if you take a little bit from each,
if we had a photographic survey before and afterwards, and we had something
Yes,
made.
that's a good idea.
So
cost of
before,
that.
what's it, 5 minutes of your mobile phone, and when you leave, and there's anything making good, we get a contraction to make good, and it's just cost £1,000 on our terms and conditions with which individual company it is, before
Right.
we go on to them.
Maybe the
So the 25%
person
markup.
who looks after the filming can be updated on some of these things.
Yeah, I think that's
Councillor Richardson.
Can you make sure that, Isabel, when you write up there, you do check the report with which the SCP got commissioned by Simon McFarlane, got involved with a chap called Chris, wasn't it? It's the complete. It was aimed at cycling, but it did look at the wider picture of cycling and walking and so on. That was done in the last couple of years, and the report is out somewhere. It was quite a professional report. You probably got a copy of it anyway, no doubt, as the town council. But it was there's a lot of information there which to be implemented. But again, it's time and resources, isn't it?
Any other comments? Becky? So go back. Take them both together. 1, to note contents of the report, and 2, to consider its response to the rights of way access plan, parish and town council survey, instructing the assistant town clerk to submit the response. Can I have a proposer? Councillor Borman, seconded Councillor Olivia Hunman. Show of hands, please. And that's unanimous.
Yours.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 7, to notify the committee of decisions taken by Lewes District Council and South Downs National Park on applications previously considered by this committee. You're recommended to note the report unless you've got any questions. Okay. So can I have show of hands of noting? That's unanimous. Thank you. So that concludes the meeting. 8:16.